Hi friends, what's going on? It's Georgie and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video and welcome to this beautiful space which I want to say it's one of my favorite spots in the entire world. This is a garden that I mean more than a garden, it's like a terrace that I decided to start designing a couple years ago. Little by little it started to become, a space full of plants where I just like to chill and just kind of forget about the stress of everyday life. So I used to have a channel in Spanish where I used to talk a lot about plant care, and I decided to give it a shot in this new channel, so let's see how it goes. For this video I wanted to talk about 5 of my favorite plants. And this was a very hard decision for me since I have, grown to love each and every one of my plants. It's kind of crazy. Once you get into the whole plant world, and you start understanding your plants, there's this certain connection that you develop with each and every one of them. They all have a specific language, they all have different needs, and I am not a plant expert. I mean, slowly becoming more knowledgeable, but I'm not a botanist, didn't go to school for any of that. Everything I've learned about plants has all been through observation, trial and error. And yeah, if you're someone that's been growing an interest in this field, then I really suggest that you start small, and little by little you're gonna become very, very knowledgeable of this really, really cool hobby. So for this video I'm going to talk about not necessarily my favorite plants, because all my plants are my favorites. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I do want to talk about some of the plants that I have the most special connection to, whether it be, aesthetic, whether it be, when I got it, how I've seen it grow. But yeah, let's get started. So the first one I want to share with you guys is this cactus. I couldn't leave the cacti behind because my garden is mainly made up of succulents and desert plants, because it's located in an area where it gets a lot of sunlight. So having more shady plants would not be the best idea. I tried it before. Some of them ended up dying, some of them got really bad damage, so I am very, very fond of cacti and succulents. And this one in particular is called a San Pedro cactus, and I'm not going to talk a lot about the plant care and these specific things. There goes my dog. But the San Pedro cactus is a very, very standard classic cactus that you can see in a lot of landscaping and a lot of troughs. They're very, very trendy right now, and I don't know, I just like how simple and symmetric it is. There's tons and tons of different kinds of cacti, but this one in particular is one of my favorites. And yeah, it doesn't really require much attention or care at all, as long as you have it in a spot where it's receiving lots and lots of sunlight. It is a desert plant, it's going to be very happy. They do require a good amount of watering once the soil is completely dry, but that's about it. So if you guys are looking for a cactus, I recommend you looking into one of these guys. And one more thing that I like about these guys is that they're not so prickly as far as their spines, their thorns. Spines or thorns, correct me if I'm wrong. In comparison to other cacti, there's some that it's impossible to get the spikies. How do I not know this word? The thorns out of your finger. So I don't know, this is a very, very gentle and nice cactus to have if you do live in a place where you can provide it with lots of sunlight. Alright, let's move this guy out of the way. Up next, we have probably my favorite one, and This guy just has like so much personal meaning to me. It's this one right over here. This is called a staghorn fern. And staghorn ferns are a fern. They're from the family of ferns. Just that this one in particular is a very unique looking plant. It's called staghorn because if you look closely at it, the shape of its leaves are shaped like horns of an elk. Bless you. The shape of its leaves are shaped like horns in a way. Something really cool about these that a lot of plant botanist designers do is that they can I film, please? Can I have some permission to film? Excuse me. Tulio, let's go. Okay, well, he doesn't want to leave, so we're just gonna have him chill in the video. So as I was saying, what a lot of people do when designing with these plants is they actually mount them in like a carved piece of wood. It could be like a stump, and they put them against the wall, and they look really, really cool. I have mine in this grid ceramic pot, but I'm just waiting for it to get a little bigger, and then I'm going to probably be mounting it in a very special place in my house. I like to give my plants also, this is just a side note, I like to give them like a nice container for them to live in. I think of it as like if they were like people, you wouldn't choose an outfit that doesn't go with your personality or something that wouldn't make you shine. So for now I have this in this like very nice ceramic pot. I think I got it like at Marshall's or like TJ Maxx, one of these shops. And I also like to put like some sort of like crystal or amulet in my plants just because I think it like attracts good energy. That's just my thought, but yeah, this is one of my very, very favorite plants. It's called a staghorn fern. And as far as maintenance goes, like I said, I'm not going to dive too deep in the care in this video. I can do another one in the future. Ferns in general they appreciate to have some humidity. They don't like to be overwatered. So yeah, this guy's in a pretty healthy shape, and I got him when he was just very, very tiny. So like I said, they do take a while to grow, but if you're patient and take good care of it, it's gonna grow pretty big and healthy. All right, let's set this baby over here. And up next we have another plant that I hold lots of sentimental value towards, and it's actually a tree. So this is a very popular plant that became very, very trendy when this whole like millennial plant frenzy started to happen. It's called Ficus elastica, otherwise known as a rubber tree. And why this? Because its leaves look like they're in a way rubberized. And a fun fact about this is like some of the sap that it has inside was actually used to produce rubber. So I've had this guy for like, I want to say over 4 years. And it just, you know, I like it so much because we have a true connection. He or she or they, it's been through a lot. He was one of the first plants that I kind of like started, you know, learning about plant care. And at first I thought that like when the leaves were falling off and turning yellow that it was dying. And this is like a little plant tip that I want to give you guys. So this is a tree, right? Just because one of the leaves of your tree is becoming yellow or dying doesn't mean that your plant is dying. Just like we have our hair, and our hair sometimes dies, and you know, with time it needs a little trim. Same thing happens with trees. So when you probably buy these in a nursery or whatever, you're gonna see that it has like tons and tons of these little leaves, and with time it's gonna become stemmy and grow. Well, that's something very natural that happens with trees. So be very patient. Just make sure that the little stump stays in a good shape don't overwater because then the roots will rot. It's going to start becoming soggy, and we don't want that. So this is another one of my favorite plants. It's called the rubber tree. Oh, and one last thing about the rubber tree, there's different kinds of variations. This is a burgundy because it has like a burgundy tone in its leaves. There's also a variegated type. There's this really beautiful like rose pinkish watercolor one. But yeah, this is one of my favorite plants that I wanted to share with you guys on this list. Up next is this big boy right here. So this guy is called a, what is this guy called? This is an agave. Its name is agave. I am trying to film. Please. This is an agave. This is called an agave attenuada. And these plants became really popular just a couple years ago for landscaping because they're a very, very easy plant to take care of. They're great for outdoors. If you see them like on highways, residential properties, these plants really don't require much. As long as they get a lot of sunlight, watering every now and then, they're a really, really great plant to have. I actually have two of these. I'll throw in a shot of the other one that I have. And I just love how, you know, in comparison to other agaves.
Tulio, please. Go. Ya, por favor. Vámonos.
So in comparison to other agaves that are like more thorny and prickly. Okay, this baby boy is not gonna let me film this video. See what I have to deal with? So in comparison to other agaves, they're usually like thorny and they'll prick your finger. This guy is has a very soft leaf. So, Tulio, por favor. Por favor. Needy boy. But yeah, this guy is a really, really nice and gentle plant because it doesn't have these thorns. So for landscapers, it's a very, you know, gentle and easy plant to like maneuver and, you know, repot and whatnot. Another common name for them, well, at least in Spanish, is swan's neck, cuello de cisne. That's because its stem stump grows very, very long, and it resembles like the neck of a swan. And a tip I do recommend with these is that their leaves, since they can be delicate, they sometimes take in some sun damage. So as this happens, you want to trim them from the bottom so that the rosette keeps on growing at the top. And you know, this, like I said, it's a very easy plant to take care of. They live, here's a fun fact, they live, from what I've heard and found, from around like 12 to 15 years. This is something that I learned from the guy at the nursery that I buy my plants from. And once they're at their final stage of their life, in the middle they start to like release this very, very, very long stem. And it's a gorgeous flower that, I don't know, I just find it very symbolic that at the last stage of their lives, they choose to gather up all this energy and then shoot out this gorgeous flower, and then they die. But yeah, I love this guy so much, and they've become super popular and hard to find nowadays. So down here I have a little invasive plant that decided to grow and share its pot. I'll probably be relocating them at some point. This is a Kalanchoe, mother of thousands. And these guys are, you know, they just like grow anywhere they want. Some consider them a plague or a pest or invasive. I like to respect all plants, and you know, whatever grows in my garden stays in my garden, as long as it's not a weed that's killing something else. So I really don't mind having these types of plants around either.
Tulio, con permiso, mi amor. Con permiso.
Okay, we're almost done. Last but not least is this crazy looking guy that, oof, I have to say this is also one of my favorite plants. So this guy right here is called a Sansevieria cylindrica, and most of you might be familiar with Sansevierias or snake plants. They're this like plant that grows vertical that you see pretty much anywhere. So Sansevierias have like different varieties of the plant. This one I would say is like a far second cousin. And it's just so unique from other Sansevierias because its stems are completely cylindrical and the other ones are more on the flat side. I don't know, this plant I actually didn't know anything about it when I purchased it. It was probably like at most like a foot high, and it was just like a bunch of little stems like sticking up with no direction, no nothing. But I put it in a spot, I'll put some shots later. I put it in a spot in my garden where it was receiving the right amount of shade, and now a couple years later it's grown like to be this gorgeous looking monster. So I don't know, I just have a really special connection with this plant, and I love it so much. And probably in, I don't know, a year or a short amount of time it's going to require some repotting. So whenever that happens, if you guys are interested in a video, then I can probably film something for you. Alright you guys, so that was it for my top 5 favorite plants. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video because there are some background noises, some construction going on, and I don't want to ramble or get distracted any longer. I really hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about some of my favorite plants. If you like this type of content, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to film some more plant stuff in the future. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning into my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!